Good morning. I hope you enjoyed Snack at Home over the weekend. We start another week today, but the news today was quite good. Sounds like things continue to open up. Our Premier in our state is talking about by July, most businesses will be able to open, but keeping the 4 metre square rule. But maybe by August, the 4 metre square rule can disappear. And that would mean great things for church, because it would mean that we could fit the kind of normal numbers into all of our buildings that we might like to fit in. Keep praying that that's the case. Psalm 101. We come to Psalm 101. It's a Davidic psalm, and we haven't had a Davidic psalm since Psalm 86. So that's been a bit of a shift. We've had lots of psalms of thankfulness and praise to God and talking about God's characteristics, his holiness, and so on. But this is another Davidic psalm. But if it's a Davidic psalm, it's very interesting, because it seems to be a point in David's life when he is feeling very much as though he's trusting God and he's repented of his sin. Might have been early on, though the way he talks, it sounds like he has some level of power and he could be king. Perhaps it's well after he's repented of what happened with Bathsheba. Whatever it was, this Davidic psalm: I will sing of faithful love and justice. I will sing praise to you, Lord. This is a song to God. It's crying out to God, like many songs do, of what we would love to see, what we want to happen. I will pay attention to the way of integrity. When will you come to me? It's a song singing for justice and God's love and God to come. I will live with a heart of integrity in my house. I will not set anything worthless before my eyes. I hate the practice of transgression. It will not cling to me. We like to think in our best moments that that's what we do. We hate the practice of transgression. We won't let sin cling to us. And a devious heart, verse 4, will be far from me. I will not be involved with evil. You can see how I'm saying that this is David at his best. It will be all of us at our best in our tendency to sin. Verse 5, I will destroy anyone who secretly slanders his neighbour. I cannot tolerate anyone with haughty eyes or an arrogant heart. My eyes favour the faithful of the land, so that they may sit down with me. The one who follows the way of integrity may serve me. Here is David very much in a messianic, kingly sort of a role, when he's starting to say that he wants to bring absolute justice into his land. I'll destroy the slanderer. He can't tolerate the haughty. This is an interesting picture of David, and really at this point, because we know what humanity's like, we get a bit worried. This kind of human king, how could this kind of human king reign without actually being a tyranny? But I do like verse 6, my eyes favour the faithful of the land, so that they may sit down with me. The one who follows the way of integrity may serve me. It's sort of a little picture of the life of following God, isn't it? The faithful of the land, the ones who want to follow the ways of integrity. Doesn't necessarily mean that we've worked it all out. It seems to paint for me a little picture of what it is to be a disciple of Jesus, to follow after Jesus, to follow after his integrity, to follow after his faithfulness. Then verse 7, no one who acts deceitfully will live in my palace. No one who tells lies will remain in my presence. Every morning I will destroy all the wicked of the land, eliminating all evildoers from the Lord's city. And there's real zealousness here from David. He really wants to bring justice. As I said, makes you worry when a human would have that level of power. But of course, this is David wearing his messianic kingly hat. And we know in the fullness of time that there's only one king who could have that level of power and indeed act with justice and not become corrupt and make the wise and good decisions. And so we would sing a song of faithful love and justice about Jesus, whereas about David, in the fullness of time, we might struggle to do such a thing. It's a great psalm, and it sets up the pattern, I think. It's a biblical theology psalm. So it sets up a pattern of God's king waiting for the true king. And so if this psalm is around 1000 BC, around the time of David, you can follow this kind of pattern a bit later. If we were to turn to Isaiah 11, we read this sometimes at Christmas time, but good to read it today. Isaiah 11, a shoot will grow from the stump of Jesse, a branch from his roots will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, a spirit of wisdom and understanding, a spirit of counsel and strength, a spirit of knowledge and fear of the Lord. His delight will be in the fear of the Lord. He will not judge by what he sees with his eyes. He will not execute justice by what he hears with his ears, but he will judge the poor righteously and execute justice for the oppressed of the land. Here in Isaiah 11, the picture of a messianic king continues to grow, and we start to know, because it's 200 years after David, if nothing else, that it can't be a human kind of king. Even the best, like David, can't be a king like him, because they need to be able to judge rightly. They need to know it. They need to know the heart of people. And that is not something humans do very well. It's a picture of Jesus once more. And then if you go forward again in time to Daniel, in sort of the 5th century, some sort of time like that, you can read the picture of the Ancient of Days and the coming Son of Man. So as he kept watching, Daniel kept watching, there was set in place the Ancient of Days on his seat. His clothing was white like snow, and the hair of his head like whitest wool. Then, going down in that passage, we get verse 13 of chapter 7 in Daniel. I continued watching in the night visions, and I saw one like a son of man coming with the cloud of heaven. He approached the Ancient of Days and was escorted before him. And here's the bit. He was given authority to rule and glory and a kingdom, so that those of every people, nation and language should serve him. His dominion is everlasting, that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that won't be destroyed. And we see the idea, the hope of a messianic king, appointed by God, one like a son of man, developed again even further. And really, this Old Testament picture develops and develops until we see it crystallize in the person of Jesus. And so out of Psalm 101, really the takeaway is what a wonderful thing it is to have a king who will execute integrity in his justice. He will bring faithful love to his people. He already has. And when he actually judges finally, it will be right. And so his eyes favour the faithful so that they may sit down with him. That is our great hope as Christians. So we continue to be faithful, not perfect as humans, but faithful, trusting in Jesus. We look forward to rest with him. Dovetails nicely with yesterday's sermon as well in Matthew 11. Have a good day.